Hello, good morning. How are you? I hope you are all well, and I would like to thank you so much for joining this webinar today. Please let me know that you can hear me clearly. Please confirm that I am audible enough. All right. So, welcome once again to our webinar. And today's webinar is going to be very interesting, and we are doing how to reduce hiring risks with ISO 9001. And before we proceed, I would like to welcome you all. Feel comfortable. Please prepare all the questions that you may have because we are going to unpack a lot in this webinar since also we have two presenters. And just before we continue, I would like us, you can introduce yourself. You can unmute your mic and tell us what you do, the company that you present, or if you don't want to maybe unmute, you can write on the chat box what you do, your name and the company that you represent, and what you're hoping to learn from this webinar today. So please feel free to unmute or drop your comment in the chat box. I'll give you 2 minutes. Feel free. Anyone? Please tell us who your name, what you do, and the company you present, and what you are hoping to learn from this webinar. I can see several people have joined. Please feel free to unmute your mic and tell us something. All right, as we proceed, just to make a brief introduction, my name is Beatrice Mudhoni. I'm a consultant here at Valuemax Consulting Limited, and I'll be the moderator today. And as I've said, we have two speakers who are going to take us through our topic today. We have one speaker from Valuemax Consulting Limited, and also another speaker from a company we have partnered with, that is the Winning Screening Company, who are going to be with us today. Anyone who is ready to tell us what they do and their company can even type on the chat box. All right, as we wait for anyone to tell us what they do, I would like to inform you that this webinar is being recorded and the presentation is going to be posted on our YouTube channel. Please, you can follow our YouTube channel, that is Valuemax Consulting Limited, and the whole presentation is going to be there, the whole video. And also as they also give you time maybe to prepare yourself to tell us something, let me just briefly introduce our company, Valuemax Consulting Limited. We are an ISO consulting firm that deals with the implementation and certification of various standards. We have standards like ISO 9001, which is the quality management system, and that is the standard that we are going to talk about today, the quality management system. We have another standard, ISO 27001, which is the information security management system. We have ISO 14001, which is the environmental management system. We also have ISO 45001, which is the occupational health and safety management system, and ISO 22000, which is the food safety management system. On top of doing the implementation and certification for the mentioned standards, we also do internal audits. We also do surveillance audits. We do training for those standards. That is, we do in-house trainings. We also organize trainings for people who are interested for the mentioned standards. And we also do transaction advisory and also project management. So those are some of the services that we offer at Valuemax. And you please feel free to check to visit and go through our website. I'm going to pin it on the chat box so that you can have a clear view of what we do in depth. Anyone who is now ready to introduce themselves, tell us your name, what you do, and the company that you represent, and what you're hoping to learn from this webinar. Someone please to tell us. You can either unmute your mic or you can type on the chat box so that we can also get to know you better. All right. If maybe I can see no one has typed, I think now we can start our webinar. And I would like to, as I had mentioned earlier, our topic is how to reduce hiring risks with ISO 9001. As we all know, especially in this current society that we are in, we have several challenges in the hiring process, and this webinar is aimed to unpack on how to mitigate those challenges and those risks. You know, many of you who have been in the hiring team, I can see even some of our clients who are human resource managers have joined us. They can relate to some of those risks they face. And during the registration of the webinar, we were able to ask some of the challenges that you face, and I can see that majority of you were able to tell us the challenges that you face, and our two speakers are going to answer those questions that you posted from in the during the registration of the webinar. And we are so happy that you are able to answer those questions, and we are going to assist you in mitigating those challenges that you are facing. So allow me to introduce the first speaker of our webinar today. That is Catherine. Please welcome and take us through the webinar. Thank you so much.
confirm that you can hear me. I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone and good morning. My name is Catherine Bogo, ISO consultant at Valuemax Consulting Limited. And I'm the speaker for today, one of the speakers. And I want to talk about, I'll talk about the risk, hiring risk that organization or business encounter. And this is not only an organization risk, it is a HR risk that they encounter or they face in an organization. So allow me to share my slides. It is kindly confirm that my presentation is visible.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. Allow me not to have my camera on for connectivity purposes so that we don't have any hiccups in terms of connection or, yeah. So now we are going to look at how hiring risk, how we can reduce the hiring risk with relation to a standard which is on quality management system on ISO 9001. And in this, hiring risk is a risk that is affecting many businesses, and every business faces this challenge on hiring. But with quality management system, which is ISO 9001, it will assist or can assist in mitigating the risk or control of this risk. And in our the recent news from IECC, there was a case of 549 cases of faking of certificates by the public servants, that is the national government. And this was a case that was a major concern, where that by public servants were presenting fake certificates for them to obtain certain positions in the government, national government, or jobs, which was raising concern. This was early January 2025, this year, where forging of certificate was there, and the ACC stepped up to investigate these cases, where some individual, I think about, if not 5, as per the news then, have been or had been caught up with this issue, where they had faked or forged certificate for them to get the jobs or obtain certain position in government. And that is why we are going to look at why do such cases occur, or why do we encounter such matters? And that is why we look at hiring risk. Because one, it could be the verification of this certificate was not conducted. It could be by the human resource or by the business or the organization or the people responsible for verification of this. And that's why we will also have our second speaker talking of what they offer in terms of verification of such matters or investigation of such matters. Now, I'm going to look at several agendas. Which one is why hiring risk is a serious issue? Why do this risk, or how can it affect the organization? And what are these risks? And how can ISO 9001 help in mitigation of these risks or maintain or control of this risk? And where does it fit? Where this hiring fits in the standard? Remember, I mentioned that ISO is a system, and this system assists in development of processes. For example, could be hiring, could be financial matters, could be human resource matters, employment and all that, which will fit in the hiring risk. So allow me to look at why hiring risk is a serious issue. And hiring, when you hire wrong or the wrong personnel, is not just a simple mistake that you make as an organization. It is expensive to the business. Remember, all statistics shows that when you conduct a bad hire or conduct the wrong hiring of the wrong person, it can cost 30% of the employee's annual salary. Why? Because remember, once you have the wrong personnel or the wrong person in the organization, it can cost a business. One, the reputation of the business. There is wastage of time. Rework will be conducted, delays, customer satisfaction will happen. So the risk is very expensive to the business. It can also affect productivity of the organization and the morale, the culture of the organization. Imagine a scenario where you hire a person who can maybe bring a bad reputation to the organization. This will affect your business in terms of profitability. The person does not deliver the work that is assigned to conduct. Of course, in terms of productivity, that will be affected. And also the employees will not be motivated enough to conduct or to perform work as expected. Why? Because it could be now you're not getting more business because this person has affected or has your customer do not trust you anymore, or your customer portfolio. So even with that, so hiring risk is a very serious issue that needs to be looked at by businesses, by organization. And I mentioned that this is not a HR issue, it's a business risk. Having looked at why this is a serious issue, let's look at what are some of the hiring risks that affect businesses or organization. And one is unqualified and incompetent candidates. This is whereby you hire a good person in paper, but cannot do the job, cannot execute the responsibilities assigned or the roles. So the person is unqualified and incompetent. Another risk or an example of risk is having forged the job description or having a fake job description. This is whereby you have not determined what are the roles and responsibilities for each position in the organization. For example, if it's the CEO, what are the roles and responsibilities that are assigned to the CEO? If it's a human resource, again, what are the roles and responsibilities assigned? Every position or every personnel in the organization, there is need for determination of what are they supposed to do in the organization. And this is in connection with what are the goals or the targets that or the objective that the organization is working towards. Then another risk that can affect the organization is incompetent or inconsistent hiring practices. What do I mean by that? There is no standard hiring process. How do you conduct your hiring as an organization or as a business? What's the procedure or the process that is followed when it comes to hiring? The panel, the interview process, the selection, the advertisement, all these consist of the hiring practices. And once there is inconsistency in that, that means that the business has not determined what are the hiring practices or the standard hiring practices to be used in the organization of the business. They will resort to inconsistency in the hiring practices. And this will lead to getting the wrong person to do a certain job or for the business. Then there is lack of documentation. This is whereby there is no documentation records in terms of who do we need for this part, who is the person or the candidate we are looking for when it comes to this position. What are the qualifications that are required? What are the skills that we need? So in this case, now lack of that documentation is an example of a hiring risk that a business can face. Having no verification of credentials, the personnel has presented certain documents, but the verification of this document has not been conducted. That is, you skip the reference checks. You do not check or get the historical records of this personnel. It's also a risk when it comes to hiring. Another risk is poor onboarding, whereby you have gotten the correct person or the right candidate, but the onboarding and the training bit has not been conducted by the business. This can lead to a very huge risk when it comes to performance of this personnel. All these risks open door to a very to costly mistakes in the business, and that is why we term them as hiring risks. So these are some of the risks. Of course, there are many or more than this which can affect the business. This are some of them that can affect the business. Now, let's look at how can we control or reduce these risks. One, of course, is have clear job description. What do I mean by this? Is start by being clear and consistent. These are the roles and responsibilities of this job or position in the organization. These are the qualification, be it education, be it training, the skills that are determined. Have clear job descriptions. Interview consistency is also a way of mitigating this risk. What do I mean by that? Is have a structured interview process that is being followed. Who are the personnel involved? What are you looking for these candidates when it comes to hiring? That consistency will reduce the hiring risk, and it will ensure that you hire the right personnel or candidate for the position. Verification of the skills and credentials is very important. You need to verify that this person has this credential. Have they obtained them in the right way to ensure that there is no forging of these credentials and skills? Then, of course, keep and maintain records, documentation, the employees' files. Are they documented? Do we have records of each and every employees? And in these files, what is contained in the file? Very important. And are these records in a secure place such that there's confidentiality? I know the HR will understand this more on the controls of the documentation of this. So these are the ways that you can help to reduce this risk, or that can help reduce the risks. Now let's look at where does hiring fit in quality management system. And quality management system, I mean the ISO 9001, which talks of support in clause 7. Clause 7 is one of the requirements, which talks of how an organization will determine the resources needed for the business. And one of the resources is people. People are very important in an organization, and this is having the right people in the business. And clause 7.2 talks of consideration of capable personnel with necessary and effective, who are necessary and can effectively implement a certain or the job that they are hired to do. So it will talk of determine who are the right people to conduct a certain job. And this will lead to hiring right. Hire the right personnel. 7.2 talks of competency, and this is where you determine the necessary competence of the person. What are the education qualification of this personnel? What is the training, or what training do they need for this, for them to perform a certain task or a certain job? The experience that they need to take. And if the person has not met this capable qualification, an organization can assist in ensuring that they meet this qualification. And how can they do that? Is ensure that they, if it's, for example, training that they need to be inducted in, they have been undertaken through the training. Then hiring will also fit on the clause 8, which is on operation. And this one talks of the controls that should be put in place. And this is what we are talking of. For example, if there are risks in place, what are the controls that you determine? And ISO will follow or advocate for following a flowchart. For example, in hiring, you can have a determination of a job description in this case. What is the screening procedure? How do you conduct your interviews? How do you conduct your hiring and the induction process until the person is now fit to conduct or perform the job? So this is what it entails, or where it fits in quality management system. I've talked of clause 7, which is on support, where it will talk of people, of competence, and clause 8, where it talks of operation or operational control in 8.5. So that's where hiring will fit. And I want us to look at risk-based thinking when it comes to recruitment. When you are looking for the right personnel, it is important for you to think ahead. What could go wrong in the hiring process? And how can we stop? How can we stop it? That is what we call hiring, risk-based thinking when it comes to recruitment. For example, what are the red flags that you can identify when it comes to interviewing? What are the education checks, the qualification checks? If you don't do the checks, what could go wrong? And by identifying these risks early, it will avoid nasty surprises later. And that is why ISO 9001, which is on quality management system, it will encourage proactive risk identification. Always ask yourself, what could go wrong? And how can we prevent that? Of course, is through assessing each step, the role definition, interview process, onboarding, and so on and so forth. So documentation of this risk and the mitigation strategies is very important. And this can lead to better, or will lead to better hiring decision and reduce surprises in the future. And we say that this risk, it's not bureaucracy, it's protection. You're protecting your business, you're protecting the organization from these risks. So this is what we call risk-based thinking, which is one of the principles in quality management system when it comes to hiring, when it comes to recruitment. Now, how do quality management system based on recruitment process, how is it or how does it look like? And one or a better way for hiring process or recruitment process is ensure that you define the job needs clearly. What are the job description for this personnel? This is what we call the job needs. What do you need from this candidate? Ensure that you define the needs clearly, such that when you're looking for this person, you have a guide on what you're checking. Ensure that you have a structure, approach on approved job description. This is what I'm talking about. Have screen or do a screening with standardized criteria and interview guides. This is where you follow a certain guide on when it comes to interview. For example, tools like interview checklist is very important. What are you looking for this candidate, in this candidate? What do you want them, or what do you want them to perform, or the goal, the targets they want to achieve? Define them clearly. Then ensure that you check the references and qualification. Verify the credentials, the qualifications. If this is what now Darubini will be talking about, how do they verify these references, the credential, the qualification, the certificates? Then it is important for you to document the decision and approval of the hiring records. That this candidate was approved because they met this criteria, a certain criteria that has been defined. And after documenting this decision and hiring, ensure that you review or regularly review the hiring effectiveness. Is the standard process that you have defined, is it effective for your organization? And this is to ensure there is improvement, regular review of the hiring process. So that is how ISO 9001 is based on a better way of hiring process when it comes to ISO 9001. And allow me to look at how do ISO 9001, or how can it help in this case. And one, it will build consistency and quality drive system across the organization. How we saw, this is through you avoid guesswork, for example, into a reliable and repeated process. Building on consistency, quality-driven system, this will reduce on risks, some risks that we have talked about. And how can you do that? Is ensure that you have clear roles and responsibility that I've said, documentation of every process, the job need, the interview, the onboarding. Have clear roles and responsibility in documentation when it comes to recruitment. And a good hiring process strengthen your ability to meet customer and organization need. Why? Because it will increase, of course, your productivity will be good. You'll have hired the right person, and the morale and customer needs will be met. So this means that there'll be less risk and better hires when it comes to hiring process in regards to ISO, how ISO can assist in that. There are some tools that you can use that can assist when it comes to hiring. And one of the risks is an SOP, a standard operating procedure for hiring. How do you conduct your hiring process? What's the procedure that is followed? What are the policies in place when it comes to hiring? This is what we call a standard operating procedure. You can also use a job description template. And this template will determine what are the education qualifications that you need from these candidates. What are the training needs that could be identified for these candidates, the skills that are required. You can also use an interview checklist when it comes to hiring. And this checklist will ensure that there is consistency when it comes to hiring process. What are the checks? If it's a panel that are involved in the hiring process, what are they looking for, or what are they checking from this candidate? You can also use a competency matrix. And this matrix is where you identify that for each job position in the organization, these are the job description for this personnel. The education qualification, the trainings, the skills that are required, the experiences that is required. So these are some of the tools that you can use when it comes to hiring process, and many more that you can also get. These are some of them. So that is my presentation when it comes to hiring, the risks that you can encounter, and how ISO 9001 on quality management system can assist or help a business or an organization. Remember that these tools are simple but result to better hiring decision. And I would like you to think of what are the challenges that you face when it comes to hiring or getting the right personnel for the job. And how do you think ISO could help your business or the organization? And this is, I want to, before I get to the question, I know Beatrice will assist me in that. I think we can have the question later after the presentation. My parting shot, or I would like you to have these thoughts in mind, that if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. And this is from American statistician or a consultant who advocated for quality methods in the industry of production, who is Edward Domin, that if you cannot describe what you do as a process, you do not know what you are doing. And I agree with the consultant that your process, you should be able to describe exactly what you do as a process. And if you do not, you do not know what you are doing. So that is my presentation. I know questions will come later after the second speaker, I'm guessing so. Beatrice will guide on that. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to interacting with you. And I hand over to Beatrice.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for such a nice presentation. You have broken down the ISO 9001 standard in a very good way, especially in the context of HR. And I know most of us are going to walk out of this webinar with very valuable insights. So thank you so much. We are going to take questions after the second speaker. And yeah, sorry about that. So at this juncture, I would like to welcome our second speaker, Mr. Hesbon. Welcome and take us through the next presentation. Thank you so much. Karibu sana, Hesbon.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. Thank you so much, Catherine, for such a wonderful presentation. Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you for this webinar. And first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mose Hesbon. Mose Hesbon is a verification specialist and operations manager at the Rubini Screening International Company. And basically, at the Rubini Screening is a background check and a screening services company that is particularly focused on employment screening. We do help organizations or companies to make safe recruitment decisions for their employees. we do offer a range of services that includes verifying employment history, identification check, documentation that includes academic qualifications, and even title deed verification to help organizations make informed hiring decisions and minimize risk. And as Catherine was presenting, I saw a comment from Jen, and Jen said papers and skills are one of the challenges that they are having, which are not aligning by what the candidate have said, and this is becoming more frustrating. And Darubini, basically, we come in to help in these kind of scenarios. And as Darubini serves the purpose of making life for employers easier by alleviating the security pain that involve in the recruitment. And the objectives as a company is to support organizations make safer recruitment decisions based upon facts that can only be obtained from properly conducted security screening and security vetting and screening exercises. As a company, we provide you with programs that help minimize the risk of making unbenefiting recruitment decisions, which is, via unchecked, could lead to fraudulent, dishonesty, and misconduct and cause damage to your brand as a company. And this combination even over reputation to your customers and financial standing. So, as a company, we get commissioned to perform vetting and screening services for candidates, which includes the pre-employment and during during the candidate's already employment. So we exercise this by a lot of professionalism, due diligence, integrity, and confidentiality. We have a wealth of experience in developing and implementing a background checks and security clearance procedures for company industries, and our expertise individuals takes through the screening requirements and recommend the best options for organizations. We do serve both private and public sectors, and anybody can also request for the services for their background screening, and when you approach Darubini, we're able to help in that areas. So basically, that is an explanation about Darubini and me. I'm also a husband. Let me go straight uh, to share my slides. And Beatrice, you can be able to confirm for me whether you can be able to see. Hi, Beatrice, please confirm whether they can be able to see the screen.
Yes, the screen is visible.
Okay, that's good. I've talked about what is about the Rubini, and I've talked about my explanation. Basically, we'll move straight to the agenda of the day. I'll speak about what is a background check. I'll speak about the importance of a background check and why is hiring risk exists, and also talk about how background checks reduce hiring risk, the risk of not conducting a background checks, and then finally finish by giving out the best practices that are used in conducting a background check. And as a company, we mainly partnered with Valuemax, and I think it's a very what Catherine has talked about is basically what we do. For us, we come in implementation check, we implementation part and actioning, and we're able to help you as a company. We can agree with all of us, like a background check is one of the key element, and majority of the people in HR can be able to get to know when they have done something contrary and they are not able to get the right candidates, which can cause a lot of reputation to the company. A background check is a process that is used to gather information about an individual's past, and typically conducted by employees to verify candidate history and assess their suitability for a job. So the process itself, it can involve verifying educations, employment history, criminal records, and credit informations. And as we go on, the technologies has advanced, and basically, the background check is verifying the academic verification of individuals, the employment history, and be able to get to know if that person has ever been engaged in criminal records before. And we can all agree by even the current world we are. Many people have tried to engage in front-end activities. They want to fake the certifications, and I saw Catherine talked about that one. The report produced by the ESCC. They want to get the upper hand so that they can get the employment. So we come to the importance of why do we need to conduct this background check. That is, as an employer, what kind of benefits are you getting to get to by you conducting the background check? And first of this is it's able to helps you to ensure that only trustworthy and quality individuals are hired. By this, background checks helps you to verify that candidates possesses the professionalism, qualifications, experience, and the character they claim to have. So by confirming education credentials, and the previous employment and the previous licenses and references. So you as employer can be able to be confident that you are bringing in somebody who is capable and honest individuals, and you're able to filter out unsuitable candidates early, they saving the company future of any trouble. An example for these ones, we can be able to get if a job requires a certified accountant and a background check confirm the person's academic record certifications and a membership with the professional bodies like CISPC in Kenya. So that is a differences. It as an employer, you will be able to get the trustworthy and qualified individuals you have hired, so that you don't get persons who have falsified information. They have the skills in terms of accounting, and they just possess the certificate, but the skills that doesn't match with what they have said. Secondly, it protects the company's assets, reputation, and workplace safety. So for these ones, the employees have access to physical, financial, and intellectual company assets. So hiring someone with a questionable history or a criminal background without any due diligence can expose the company to theft, fraud, or damage. So bad hires can harm a company's reputations through misconduct, poor performance, or unethical behavior. As a company, you must ensure that always you have the right employees. And an example for these ones, if a company you go through and hire a drivers who don't have a history, who have a history of reckless driving or use of substance abuse, and these can also cause or could also endanger the people of the company assets. The third point here, sorry, you're able to verify the honesty and accuracy in a candidate CV. Majority of the candidates are the kind of the CV that they produce. Does the information that they are indicated in the CV, does it match with whatever they have said? And this is what answers the questions by Jane asked. In terms of skills, they be able to deliver the skills? And this is a common thing. You get a person has manipulated the CV, and they have exaggerated the qualifications, they exaggerated the job titles, the salaries, the amounts that the responsibility they do. And this one here, the background check, it's able to verify the facts stated about the candidate CV, ensuring that the decisions that we make is based on truthful and accurate informations. And an example for this, you can get an candidate has indicated in a CV in one of his or a past employer. He used to be a regional sales manager and has an experience of 5 years. But when you conduct a reference check, you will find out this person was a junior sales assistant role and has an experience of 2 years. So in terms of these ones, you can be able to gauge there's quite a lot of disparities in regards to these candidates. The other point, when do a background check, is they're supposed to mitigate the legal and financial risk. And employee who are unqualified and suitable staffs can lead to any lawsuits for a company, and it can also lead to fines or can lead to business financial losses. As a company, and when you go ahead and hiring someone with a history of harassment or fraud without conducting any kind of background check could result in any legal claims from victims or regulatory penalties. And these ones, it can causes a major challenge as a company in terms of if you get somebody who is known with the histories of any cases of embezzlement and face to screen them. They could face regulatory action for any kind of negligence about the company. And then the other point, it's when do your background checks, it promotes a kind of a culture of transparency and integrity. And when a company consistently screens candidates, screens candidates, and if these ones, it makes hiring decisions based on verified facts. It sends a message that integrity and accountability are the core values. So this practice fosters a responsible and ethical working environment, so it discourages kind of dishonesty behavior. So the last point here, it allows employers to understand potential risk associated with hiring a particular individual, such as criminal history and financial issues. We can all agree with us. And these were here. A background check screening helps to uncover issues that could impact your job performance or exposes the company at risk, including in terms of candidates who have possesses the criminal records, the candidates who have pending cases, or candidates who have adverse financial records. For example, they can be having a bankruptcy or wrong defaultance. This one, or any candidates who can be able to have the professional misconduct. So you might get a candidate who are applying for a position in a bank with a credit with a position in a bank's credit department who might have a history of a loan defaulters, signaling for these ones signals for poor performance for personal financial management. So a potential here, you can get a potential risk for any a sensitivity financial role. Uh, the rest of the importance of this background check, we have quite evident, and Catherine has quite elaborated the combinations where as a company we come in, and that's why we saw it twice as a company to get on board. To as a company we get to provide the quality management of work that we do. I don't want to exhaust much of it. I will just skip over there because the slides we're going to be shared later. This is what Jacqueline has quite elaborated about the ESCC reports by individual engaging in fraudulent activities for academic. We want to talk about why is hiring risk, why hiring risk exists. And for these ones, first, we can get like the candidates may falsify information to secure jobs. By these ones, we can get many applicants here. They feel the pressure to present themselves in the best possible light. And sometimes the extent of fabricating credentials, inflating job titles, exaggerating responsibility, or even submitting forged certificate. So this dishonesty can result in hiring unqualified or suitable individuals. Um, Cases for hiring candidates for forged certificates. I can give out an example. As a company, just the other month, we were approached by a client. And for that client, the candidate was being onboarded for a director role. And for MAQ, you can get the falsifying information by this candidate. And the candidate actually he had forged the certificate from a diploma, degree, master's, all the way to PhD. And for this one, you can be able to see this candidate would not be able to at least do the job as per what is he or she expected of that person. So an applicant for any kind of managerial positions might claim to have 7 years of experience in any leadership, but but that person actually has an experience of any junior laws. This can be able to affect simply on how the people the how that person the role they possesses on how they action it. So you the second point, you might get some applicants may have undisclosed criminal records, and this person for these ones. when you go ahead and hire that person, he or she might have committed criminal before, and if failure to conduct the background check for this person might not be exposed. So without thorough background checks, candidates with past criminal offenses like the theft, the fraud, violence, it can gain employment in sensitive positions where they might repeat such behavior. So they might intentionally omit this information, knowing it will disqualify them from getting the jobs. So a job seeker with a history of investment applies for finance officer, that's an example, and omits this criminal past from the CV applications. We might get like somebody who wants a financial role. We want to onboard this person like as an accountant, and this person was then engaged in cases of embezzlement or stole the money from the company. And if you as an employer, you're not thoroughly conducting a background check, and maybe you got that person through the application, he or she is good, the experience has it, and you go ahead and hire that person. This person might be tempted intentionally to conduct the same things that he done from the past previous to these employers again. Um, the other point, inadequate or rush recruitment processes. We can agree with me, with people in HR who we even hear. Sometimes we have the deadlines we have to meet for these ones. And we were given a timeline. We have given this person is supposed to be hired with this kind of durations, and that one has to be met. For these ones, when recruitment is hardly and carelessly done without any kind of structured interviews, a background checks or reference verification, it increases the risk of hiring unsuitable candidates, or informal or hurried process often skip credential screening steps. The other one is a high pressure to fill vacancies quickly can lead to also an oversight. I've talked about that one. Lack of formal pre-employment and verification screening, and many kind of business nowadays they are adopting this background check, and it's very important and key for employers to be doing these ones. And many small business or informal sector employment lacks the structured HR processes or access to professional screening services. So without any kind of formal system or policies in place, they rely on trust, gut feeling, or word of mouth, which can be unreliable sometimes. And for them lacking not to do a background check, it might cause reputational issues with their kind of business. Um, uh, we have talked about that one. You can go to now, how does a background checks reduce hiring risk? These are the points I've already exhausted, and they are majority and repetition of the same. I'll just brush through the same. For this one, when you do a background check, it enables or exposes falsified academic qualifications and work experiences. I've explained into issues related to experience of higher positions in terms of managerial, and the differences in terms of junior. This is where they exposed. And we have seen several cases, even advertised through the magazines, even those others that we get from the news. I saw the other recent cases from the Northeastern, like in terms of the campuses who have been listed who offer fake certifications. And as employers, you need to be smart. This one is one of the things where we are heading to, and a background check is very necessary for you to be able to differentiate. Ask yourself, do you have the right candidates with the right academic credentials? Do these kind of skills match with whatever they offer? Even personally, what the kind of certification that you have you ever been able to see the need for doing the verifications from the university and be able to know, like, do I possess the right academic credentials? And here, that's where we come in as a company. And the other one is to also be able to detect the candidates with criminal or unethical practices. I've talked about that one. You're able to confirm the professional credentials. Professional qualifications, this entails in terms of in accounting, majority we have the CASNEPs, the people that possesses And for these ones also, the background checks help to reduce the workplace security threats. It also supports the compliance with the labor laws and the company policies. And one of the key also is you build trust with clients and regulators and stakeholders. You, as a company, you do the background check, and you have the right staff. It's able to protect your business. Uh, Lastly, but not least, we have the risk of not conducting a background check. What can you be able, if you're not conducting a background check, what are the areas or the issues that you encounter as an employer? First of all, you were able to hiring unqualified or dishonest candidates. So without a proper background check, employers risk hiring individuals who lack the skills. And this is what James spoke about. They lack the skills, they lack the experience, or they lack the qualifications required for the job. So those who deliberately lie on their CVs, this can lead to poor performance, operational errors, and security breaches. Imagine, as a company, you hire a person who is an IT specialist without verifying their certificate or without verifying their professional qualification, this only to realize that they cannot perform these basic tasks, leading to the system's errors and delays. I know it can cause major challenges as a company, and this is one of the areas we're able to be keen on. And as a company, we're able to verify for that area. Um, Another major challenge here for not conducting a proper pandate, it can also increase vulnerability to theft, fraud, or misconduct. So unscreened employees may misuse their access to company assets, funds, and information for personal gain. This risk is particularly high in the laws handling cash, inventory, or sensitive data. So imagine getting an employee with an history of theft is hired without checks and later steals inventory from a warehouse, causing financial losses. So this is one of the challenges if you encounter as a company if not doing a good and a thorough background check. And the other point is potential for hiring individuals with a violent or criminal history. So employing someone with a violent or a criminal past, particularly in a customer facing or a sensitive roles, can expose other employees and clients to danger. So it can also damage workplace morale and also can lead to serious incidents. So a company can unknowingly hire a security guard who has previously convicted of assault. This can also put staffs and clients at any physical risk. It's one of the legal liabilities if due diligence isn't done, either in terms legal, is if due diligence isn't done. So failing to properly vet candidates can lead to legal consequences if the employee later causes harm or commits a crime at work. So the company may be held responsible for negligence if negligent in this hiring process. Another point is high employees turnover and added recruitment cost. So when unsuitable hires are made to when unsuitable hires are made due to poor screening, so they either resign or get terminated early. So this results in frequent turnover, increased recruitment cost, and disruption of operation as new hires are sought repeatedly. An example for this in terms of retail chains, in the skills background check to qualify to quickly fill the cashier roles. But the dishonest hires are soon dismissed for theft, forcing repeat recruitment and training expenses. Another point for not doing a proper background check, it can cause a reputational damage affecting the business opportunities. And hiring individuals with questionable background checks or those involved in misconduct can damage a company's public image and credibility. So this can discourage potential clients, partners, or investors, can lead to loss of any business deal. Those are the issues related for not conducting a background check properly, and we all can agree with not a proper background check. It can cause a major big deal in terms of the company. We move on. I've talked about that one. I think I'm in the last or not last, is the last slide. When doing this kind of a background check, and as a company, what are the best practices conducting a background check? What really do you need to consider as employer before even doing any kind of a background check? And do you need any legal compliant matters in terms of for this? And for these ones, as a company, you you it's good always to obtain written consent from the candidates, and as per the Data Protection Act 2019, that's what guides us as a company. And we have the Consumer Act as well for 2012. These ones are the major laws and policies that guide people before conducting any background check. And you personally, before you be able, it's good to inform the hire that you have done. Like a background check is supposed to be conducted so that they can give out that leeway in order to proceed with a background check. Please note, you're not supposed to do any kind of background check without any permissions from the employer. But this one can cause a major lawsuit in terms of when doing the background check without consenting. But nowadays we have that kind of behavior, like the individuals sign for documents because they want kind of that arose. It's good to understand the major consequences that can be caused for these ones. It's good as well as an employer, you use licensed and credible screening agencies. And one of these screening agencies as a company as Darubini, before even you partner for those, you go or look for a screening company, or you look for some credibility organization to do the screening. It's good as well to do the diligence. And for this one here, as a company, I can tell we are majorly compliant, and we are so keen in terms of what we offer. And as an employer as well, always tailor the scope of checks to match the job or the job role. And here we help as a company. We are so keen to helping the organizations, which the kind of the employers or not the employees they want to bring on board. We are able to advise which kind of checks that you are be able to screen. And please note, not every position requires the same depth of screening. So background check should be customized based on the responsibility and risk associated with each and kind of role. So the sensitive positions like the finance, security, and childcare may require more extensive vetting. Um, it's good as well to adhere to data protection and employment laws. I've talked about this one. And internationally, we're able to comply with the GDPR, that is General Data Protection rules. For this as well, it's good to maintain a strict confidentiality and an unbiased reviewing of findings that we've gotten. The information gathered during background checks is so sensitive. This to all the HR. It should be handled confidentiality, and decisions should be made fairly without discrimination based on personal circumstances and are related to any job performance. Suppose an employer receives as a report indicating a candidate has a minor past credit issues, but assesses whether this is relevant to a specific role before making any kind of decisions. It's good as well as a company or as an employer to make a background checks as a standard hiring process. For these ones, it helps the company to protect their kind of the employees that they have. And a background check should be a formalized, documented policy applied consistently across all hires, not selectively, and not having specific individuals not being conducted their background check and having the others not being conducted. It's good to have a policy in place that ensures all the people have gone through the policy. And an organization's HR policy requires that all employees from entry-level staff to executive management or undergo a background checks before any kind of appointment. So for these ones, any kind of organizations and to manage their hiring risk responsibly, it's good they comply with the legal standards and build a trustable workforce. So the background checks, when handled professionally and ethically, it can contribute to operational stability and workplace safety and organization credibility. In conclusion, background checks are very critical in hiring the risk. And for the topic, for these ones that we have discussed, both from our side, as a company that specialized in background check and are partnered with the ISO standards. It's very necessary for people to consider these things that is being called a background check. And background checks, it is able to it helps to protect the company in terms of their legal, the financial, and the reputations for it. We have talked about that one or that. It should be also an integral part of hiring process, and investing a lot of time in upfront in hiring the right people. It's not luxury; it's a necessity. And as an employer, you should also prioritize not just technical skills, but values that are in alignment with their culture fit and a long-term potential. And the Rubini screening is able to offer reliable, timely, and compliant screening services in regards to this. That was the end of my slide. Back to you, Beatrice.
Thank you so much, Hesbon, for that very good presentation. And I know the participants have learned a lot. And one thing I've learned from the presentation, especially on the background checks, is especially on the questions that had been asked during the presentation of the webinar, because most of the human resource people were asking about how to deal with the many fraudulent cases that are there. Now that's where the background check comes in. When you do a thorough background check with people like Darubini, you're going to identify and prevent those fraudulent information that is made by applicants. We know people do even fake the certificates, even the good conduct and all that. Then later on, you find they had a criminal record, which can be mitigated through doing the background check. And also, one thing I've noted on the background check, when a company decides to do a very good and thorough background check, they're able to get the best people, the best talent, people who are qualified and they're trustworthy in their jobs. So thank you so much for that and very good presentation. Uh, Another thing that I have noted from the presentation that is worth to mention is the use of the ISO 9001. As Catherine had indicated in her presentation, when you, as an organization, if it's a recruitment company, if you implement the standard, you're going to realize that you're going to have documented and consistent procedures, and it is through these procedures that you're going to ensure that you are doing hiring that is guided by clear step-by-step processes, and this will ensure that any error that is seen during the hiring process is going to be mitigated. She also talked about competence. She mentioned the clause on competence, clause 7.2. It will ensure that during the hiring processes, the human resource people are going to ensure that they are hiring people with the necessary qualifications and skills. So thank you so much, our speakers, for those very good presentations. And I know we have really learned a lot. Now I would like to welcome any questions from the participants. You can unmute your mic or drop the question in the chat box. Please welcome. Any questions? Please feel free to unmute your mic or type in the chat box. Can see on the chat box a comment from Boniface Mbogwa. He's saying good presentation on background checks on an organization. Yes, if you would like to assistance in doing the background checks for your organization or during the hiring processes, you can talk to the Rubini Screening Company. Please, Hesbon, drop your contact details on the chat box, and even your email address and how people can get you or contact your organization. Any comment or any question?
Hello, hi.
Hi to Sarah, thank you.
I think mine is to just comment. That was a wonderful presentation. Have learned a lot, and also a clarification on the background checks. Is it allowed or is it okay for you to share to a candidate that you do a background check and maybe you have found something and you share with the candidate? Maybe you have had the process up to some point and you find it. Is it okay to share with the candidate? I'm saying this having in mind that maybe the candidate might want to start defending themselves, or rather going back even to the company or that. So can somebody just shed light on that area, kindly?
Yes, Sarah, I believe that was a question to me. Yes, as per the law, it's very important to share the information to the candidate, and I know the candidate might be asking he or she the reasons for him for terminations. It's good to give out the leeway to the candidate to explain for themselves in regards to the matter that has transpired, and not just giving out a termination letters, or are not providing the offer letter without giving out an explanation for the reason behind. For these ones, if it regards to the matter, for example, the candidate was involved in academic authenticity, and there is a certificate he or she presented that is fake, it's good to give out a report that we have done a background checks, because before even the background check was conducted, the candidate, you had to engage him or her by explaining that this process is going to be done, and he or she consented. And it's good to go back and tell, this is the outcome that we have, and this is the reasons we are not giving out the offer. And behind that, he or she can be able to give out the facts or be able to explain himself or herself what transpired. And I'm explaining this because I know humans are not perfect. And then again, previously, when I've gotten scenarios, you get some individuals who are engaged in a company, and they have that, let me say, a self-interest of something. And again, you get somebody has an issue. Like if the boss had an issue with the candidate, or that is so personal, and this led to determinations, and for that candidate was not given a proper a platform not to express himself or herself. So it's good to consider, you have also to hear the sides for the candidate before considering that.
Thank you. You have dealt that part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Hesbon, for answering that. Welcome, Boniface. Can see you have unmuted. Or anyone with a question, you can unmute your mic.
Hi, Beatrice. Can you hear me?
Welcome, Vonex.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, you are audible.
I have a question. Now, to Darubini, do you guys have a specific screening checklist for evaluating candidates? That is by using ISO 9001 principles, because we are ISO certified. So if I want to add something on my SOP, do you have a specific checklist? And another question, do you guys have a template for a background check? If you can share, yes, we'll appreciate.
Let me start by thanks, Vanex, for your two questions. A template for a background check. We all align as per the candidates, as per the client's requirement, but we have ours. I've shared my email. You can be able to reach out with us. We can be able to share with you with that one. And the specific checks that you can be able to do. As the way I explained to you when I was doing my presentation, we check on we are specifically considering to get to know the positions for the candidate. The checks that are for junior level cannot be the same for the checks for the senior role. For this one, but also it depends with the client's needs. And suppose you have your candidates you want specifically to get to know if it's the kind of checks you want them to be screened. As a company, we are so much flexible. We are able to do the packages that we can be able to offer to you as a client's need. So the client need is very, very important, and we need the advisory from him or her. These are the checks that I have in mind. Or if you don't have the clients that you the kind of specific service that you have, we can be able to advise depending on the role that you're able to hire or the person's positions that you have in your company.
Thank you so much. I have another question. Sorry, I didn't mention. We are a group of company called BMP. We have Munshiram and we have Punchlines. Munshiram deals with office automation and furniture production. Now, Punchlines, on the other hand, deals with security printing documents. Now, we are both ISO 9001 certified. For Munshiram, we are allowed to advertise, do a background check, and all sort of recruitment processes. But for Punchlines, we are governed by Kenyan Bankers Association. We are not allowed to advertise for the vacancies. We only employ from within, someone you know better. Now, what's your take on this? If we subcontract Darubini to do a background check, yet the KBA or the Kenyan Bankers requires us to employ someone we knows better. Kindly advise, or what's your take?
I'll say yes, I agree with you, Vonex, and this one basically there's some of the organizations that have adopted to do their background checks internally, but in certain we know there's some risk or disadvantages that may pose in certain scenarios when you do the internal. It might even be corrupted or by there's that conflict of interest within when it's done. But it's good also to get the external sources. But as I earlier said, it's depending with the organization's policies and organizational procedures on how you have set. For you or for these cases, you have stated you are being regulated by the Kenya Bankers Associations, and for any kind of the employees that you hire, as a company, we are not the ones to advocate the persons or specifically telling you or limiting you on areas from where to hire. But for us, we come in, we are giving out an action or implementation point, like is that person that you're having or you are hiring, whether externally or internally, does he or she fit with the positions? Does he or she have the right academic credentials? Does he or she meet the relevant skills? For us is to give out your candidates, we able to vet them and fit the right positions. So we are not the ones to manipulate for you in terms of where or how to hire them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vonex. So don't fear to approach the Rubini Vonex. We will be able to, I've shared my contacts there, the email and the number. We can be able to partner and support you when in terms of when you are doing, you are hiring, and be able to explain each and every kind of services, and be able to give you the right and the quality employees to your company.
Thank you so much for Mr. Vonex for those questions. And just to mention, we appreciate your presence here as our client. We have certified BNP for ISO 27001 and ISO 9001. We thank you for attending our webinar and also interacting with Darubini, who are also in the process of ISO 9001 implementation. I'm liking the questions that are coming through. Please feel free to unmute the mic, ask more questions, or type in the chat box. I can see several HRs joined us. Can you unmute your mic and ask any question or any clarification that you may need? All right, as we wait for the questions to come up, maybe some people are still maybe thinking of what to ask. Would like to have a short feedback session. Would like to just launch the polls so that you can give your feedback. Just a moment. I hope you are able to see the questions. You can just give feedback on the webinar. There are 6 questions. Please feel free to give your most honest feedback. This will we do this feedback question so that we can improve in our future webinars. Please give us the feedback so that you can improve. As we proceed with giving feedback, I can see Mr. Boniface Mbugwa has dropped a question on the chat box. I think this question is directed to Rubini. He's asking on background checks, should an organization inform you that they are carrying out the exercise or they are just carrying on without your consent?
Yes, Boniface. I just stay confident, like an organization is supposed to inform you that there is a background check process being carried out so that you can give out your consent. But if you have they do against that, that is against the data privacy for you. But there's a tendency for HRs doing the background check without even doing a consent from the candidates. That's against the law and against the Data Protection Act 2019. So there's no background checks that is supposed to be done without any as a candidate consenting through the process.
Thank you for that. You can still continue asking more questions as we do the feedback. You can see some people have dropped their feedback. I would love more people to do that so that we can improve in our future webinars. Just take a minute to give us your feedback. Thank you for all the feedbacks that are coming in. We really appreciate. Thank you, thank you. You can see more feedback is coming in. Please just take a minute of your time and give us feedback. Can see more is coming in. Thank you so much. Can see actually more people are answering the questions. Thank you. Let me add 2 more minutes so that we can finalize on the feedback segment. If you have not given your feedback, please do just 1 minute. Can see a comment on the chat box. HR Powerhouse Limited. They're saying thank you. Having a meeting now. May I leave now? Accept my excitation. That is fine. Thank you so much for taking your time to attend our webinar. We appreciate your presence and have a good day. Thank you. 1 minute remaining so that we can now wind up on the feedback session so that we can go back to the last session. All right, thank you so much for the people who have provided the feedback. The feedback, we take it positively and we always aim to improve, enhance continuous improvement in our webinars. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now let me end the poll. Now, please allow me to introduce the next segment as we wind up, just to make a short presentation on what we are as Valuemax, so that you can have a better understanding of us. It will just take 2 minutes of your time. Please hang on. Let me share my screen. Please confirm that you are able to see my screen. Okay. So as I had said when we were beginning the webinar, this is Valuemax Consulting Limited. We are a consultancy firm that deals with the implementation and certification of various ISO standards. And one of the things that we always acknowledge is our prospects, our customers as our hero, because we understand that you have invested a lot of your resources, your money, and time. And one of the things is ask is, how do you consolidate your success so far, and how do you align with our processes? Then we are able to acknowledge that there are challenges in terms of processes, procedures, policies, system alignment to strategies, regulations. And that now is where, as Valuemax come in, we assist in the streamlining of those processes, procedures during the implementation of the various standards. Then one of the questions we ask our prospects and our clients: are your processes and system delivering your mission? Are the things that you have in place in your companies, are they able to meet the mission of your company? Then we have what we believe in. For us, we believe, number one, in integrity, competence, teamwork, and innovation. And this is what, even as you interact with us, even during administering of our services to our clients, you can able to see us. We are able to offer confidential services for our clients. We ensure that we have incorporated integrity, that is honesty and fairness. We also, in terms of competence, we provide the best possible advice and support to help our clients achieve their full potentials. For us, we are a team. We have a team of consultants who are experienced, and we have a common goal, which is to ensure that our clients succeed. And during the process, we innovate. That is, we develop creative solutions, ensure new and old systems work together. Then this is what we do. We champion change, that is new ideas, new systems, new approaches, and new ways of thinking. This is our vision. Number one, we want to deliver organizational excellence, and we aspire to be a top ISO consulting firm in Africa. And it is along the way that we ensure that all the promises that we have given to our clients and prospects, we have achieved them. Then these are our services. I had mentioned about our services, which is providing of implementation and certification of the mentioned standards. Today we have talked about ISO 9001, which is the quality management system. We also, in conjunction with those standards, we do internal audits. We also do the surveillance audit, strategic planning, project management using workflow marks. We also do setup and training on Zoho projects, transaction advisory, and also conduct training. Then we have our business approach, which, number one, We ensure that we understand the client's needs, we agree on the objectives and the deliverables, then we develop an action plan in consultation with the client, then we implement the plan, and afterwards we discuss the findings, evaluate and document the new approach. We have served several clients in several industries, from security, IT companies, logistic companies, several banks, energy companies, construction companies, engineering firms, then the government, hospitals. So those are some of the clients that we have served. As I had said earlier, we have a team of passionate consultants who are disciplined, and we listen and serve our clients. This is a multi-talented team with training and educational background, and we have the various expertise in the various standards that we offer. That is training. We have gotten the training from locally, and others we have internationally. We have experience working in Kenya and several other countries. We have Rwanda, Djibouti, Tanzania, Somalia, and the United Arab Emirates. And for us, we have refined analytical and communication skills. Also, as Valuemax, we have partners. Our one of our partner is Accurate Global. That is where we get the ISO certification from. They're based in USA, and we are the official representative in Kenya and the East African regions. Then we have another partner, that is Workflow Max. This is on one of the services that we offer in project management, and Valuemax is the first certified implementation partner in East Africa. In East Africa, so in case you need assistance in project management, how you can use the software, we are here to assist you. We are also partnered with Zoho for Zoho projects, and we ensure that we assist you in integrating Zoho projects into your processes seamlessly. So in case you need any of the services, we are here to assist you. Then the next steps, please let us know what you do, your processes, your challenges, and how we can use our services to assist you. From then on, we are going to prepare a proposal, and the proposal will consist of details of what we are going to do, and of course the fee. And also after that, we discuss and agree on our plan. It is now sign the contract, and now we can start working together. We have a physical office. We are located in Nanak House. It is in Kimathi Street, opposite Nation Center. You can visit us at that floor, room 301. You can visit us at room 301 physically. We can talk about how we can assist you, and also how we can work together. We have also attached a WhatsApp group link. It is through the link, the WhatsApp group link, that we share insights, daily insights on uh, various ISO standards, daily updates, upcoming webinars and trainings. So please click the link on the chat box and join our WhatsApp group so that you don't miss on important details in terms of ISO. The group is very informative. You are able even to learn and see any upcoming events or webinars or trainings that you may have. I would like to thank you so much for attending this webinar. Thank you to our two speakers for giving us very good insights on our topic today. We appreciate you, our two speakers, and also our participants today, for taking your time to come and to listen to us. We really appreciate that. So as of now, we end our webinar, and now we can all leave at our own pleasure. The presentation slides are going to be shared via the email that you used to register for the webinar. Thank you so much. Have a good day.